Welcome to Orthridge Jersey's virtual chat. I am Brittany with the Discover Dairy program, and we are so excited that you're joining us today as we get to meet Farmer Derek and, of course, your adorable calves, Jacaranda and Disco Diva. First, this live chat is part of the Adopt a Cow program. More than 43,000 classes and 1.7 million students joined the fund for free this year, thanks to our generous supporters like the Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin and the Dairy Excellence Foundation. If you'd like to join next year, registration and re-enrollment actually opens this week, starting May 1st. You can go to discoverdairy.com/adopt, and there you can either log in and simply click re-enroll, or you can go ahead and create an account if you're new and get started. Next, today's live chat is open and live on Facebook and on YouTube. So you can go ahead over to that chat feature and use that and chat with us throughout that time. We are so excited to hear your questions, and I know Farmer Derek is excited to answer them. Now, before we go over to Farmer Derek, let's see who is joining us today. So let's check out that chat. We've got some folks who were first bright and early joining us today. We had Lakeview K-8 and Kenosha, and they have Disco Diva. So hello and good afternoon, all. We're so excited to have you on board, and thanks for being the first ones to tune in. We've got some folks from Delavan. We have Mrs. Hanson's class in Deloitte. Hello and welcome. We've got some fourth graders in Lannon Elementary. Miss Miller's fourth graders in Whittier Elementary. Hello. Thanks for coming on here. Jumping down a little bit further with BBES, who's excited to see Disco Diva, and we are excited to see her too. So hello and welcome. Let's see, we've got some first graders from Our Redeemer. We have Fort Atkins Luther School, and let's jump down a couple more here. We have Miss Johnson and Miss Freund's class, excited to see you. And then Miss Ellenberg's third grade class in Racine. So, oh, and let's see, some folks from Waterloo. So hello all, thank you so much. There are many more of you joining us today. Thank you for letting us know where you're from. We are so excited to have you on board. And I did see one little shout out that said happy birthday to Farmer Derek. So we will definitely celebrate that together as we get to meet Farmer Derek today. So without further ado, I'm excited to introduce you to Farmer Derek. Hey, Farmer Derek, how are you doing today?
Good. How are you, Brittany?
I
Welcome to
am doing
Orthridge,
so
Jersey.
well. Yeah,
Good.
woohoo!
Welcome to our farm. Disco Diva and Jacaranda are both behind me in this group. We just fed them hay, so you have a whole glimpse of everybody that's in all of their friends, all of Disco Diva and Jacaranda's friends, just eating hay, hanging out. They'll be hanging out behind us the whole time. So a little bit about our farm. My parents and my sisters moved here in 1993. I went to college, came back. When I returned from college, we built a new barn, expanded the farm. So we went from about 60 cows to 250 cows, mostly jerseys, some crossbreds. Then we raise most of our forages ourselves, like the corn silage, grasses, alfalfa, stuff like that we feed our cows. We grow that ourselves and then feed the cows, and then we sell the milk.
Wow, that sounds absolutely amazing. Now we can see a little bit of them chowing down. I'm assuming the food that they're eating right now is stuff that you guys.
What happened? Is he
Oh,
still there?
can you hear me, Farmer Derek?
I can hear you. I don't know what
Oh,
happened.
there we go. Sorry about that. I was just saying that we can see these girls chowing down on some yummy food. So is that the stuff you guys have grown on your farm?
This stuff is actually stuff we bought. We ran out of the stuff we grew like last week. So we had to buy some hay from a local farmer about an hour south of here. And then in a couple weeks, we keep them here in this building to do the live chat. And then after this time, if the grass is growing and good, all of these heifers will go out to pasture, and they'll spend the summer eating green grass on
Ooh,
one of
that's
our pastures
exciting.
on the farm. So this is hay we bought, but it's very similar to what we grow on the farm.
Sure. Exactly. Absolutely. Hey, it must have been so yummy. They just ate it all up, right? So, and
They're very
that's the
happy.
cool, right? Yeah. And that's the cool part about having local farmers. You all can work together in such an amazing community where everyone, if you have someone has extra or someone has more or whatever it might be, you guys can all team up and work together for that kind of thing. So that's really great. Awesome. So Farmer Derek, tell us a little bit about what does your typical day look like being a farmer at Orthridge Jerseys?
I would say my typical day is getting up. I don't do much of the milking anymore. With 250 cows, I can't do everything. So we do have employees that help us out. I milk on weekends more than I do during the week. And then I take care of the health of the cows to make sure everybody's healthy, getting to and from the parlor okay. The parlor is where they're milked. Uh, if you've seen pictures or watched the video in the past, like the cows lay in the sand, and then twice a day we move them to the milking barn to be milked. So I make sure all the cows are healthy. During that I feed everything. My dad does a lot of the feeding of the cows, but like I put the hay out for these girls. Also do a lot of record keeping. We keep track of every cow and calf. Which cow has who. We can trace all of our calves back generations, 5 or 6 generations. We've actually done some work. The guy that passed away, he could trace some of our cows back to the Isle of Jersey, where Jersey's originated in like the 1600s. So there's some cool stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of record keeping, and then we move calves, heifers, and cows throughout their lifetime. You'll see the calves in the calf huts. They start there when they're born, and then they go to a couple pastures, a couple buildings around here. Then they end up in this building. In the summertime, they go to pastures all over the farm and some rented pastures. And then wintertime, we've got some buildings here and at another farm where they spend their time until they turn two. You've seen or you've heard that dogs, one human year is like 7 dog years. Cows are about 1 to 10. So a cow, I think the average life expectancy of people is in the 70s. Cows are probably 7 for
Huh.
average life expectancy. And cows, about the time they turn 2, is when they have a calf and start milking, and then they go into the milking barn and with the other cows that are being milked.
Oh, so it's a really great fact right there at the end. And I know we've actually already had some questions coming in about that milking process. So when they're about 2 years old, you said, Farmer Derek, they will have their first calf. So those first 2 years of life before they have a calf, they really just hang out in these pens we're seeing on the calf cam and all this cool stuff. And they really do nothing but eat, sleep, and hang out, right?
Exactly right. Sometimes they get a little crazy and they get out. But you might remember 2 years ago during our live feed, one of our heifers jumped 2 fences while we were doing this. But they do have they do have a little fun sometimes when they're not supposed to.
Oh my goodness, that's too funny. That's amazing. So I think our calf cam might be over by some of our babies. So I don't know if we want to show one of those babies, but we can go ahead and switch over to that. But so this is where those babies started, right, Farmer Derek?
As soon as they're born, within about 12 hours, they come to these little houses, calf huts. If you've been involved in the program for a while, you might remember Juniper, who is Jack Randa's mom, or Jordy 2 years ago. Maybe she was 3 years ago. But anyway, this is Jordy's sister. And Juniper,
Oh,
Jordy, Jacaranda, all of them are in the same family. So we had a cow named Jordan, and these are all descendants of her. So it's kind of cool to watch the family lines, and we picked her out while we were getting ready. It's one we should highlight. So
oh, that's awesome. She's a cutie. She's so little. It's amazing to think about how big they grow from right here when they're just this little to what is considered a full-grown cow, Farmer Derek?
from a weight standpoint or age,
Ugh.
uh, full grown is about 2 years. Jerseys will typically weigh about 1,000 pounds.
1,000 pounds.
Holsteins are crosses. Other breeds are bigger. You
Sure.
might see a Swiss. Brown Swiss can be really big cows. But yeah, they go from 60 or 70 pounds to 1,000 pounds over 2 years, and it doesn't hurt when they step on your toes when they're this age. But it really does when they're 2 years old.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Oh, she's so cute. Thank you for showing us Jacaranda and Juniper and all their relatives. She's a cutie. Now we've got a lot of people really excited to see our adopted calves. Any chance we can work our way over to our adopted calves?
They're on their way.
Perfect.
Cisco Diva's right here with a mouthful of feed. Actually, Diva, her mother, was the one that got out 2 years ago and ran through two fences and was no longer part of the live chat.
Oh
She
my gosh.
snuck in the back while we were trying to get a close up of her, but she's very cute, and she is a diva just like her mother. She knows she's pretty.
She is. I love her color. She's just a little bit lighter than some of them
She
one
is.
of the other ones that she's around. Aw. And then let's see. That was Disco Diva. And then we've
Here's
got
Jacaranda.
Jacaranda. There
She's a
she
little
is.
darker. Uh, Hopefully she stays close up, and you can see they're eating hay. And then once a day we give them grain. It's corn, oats, and then there's a special pellet in it with vitamins and minerals. So just like humans, the cows have. We have a nutritionist that comes and tells us, what we should be feeding, what minerals cows need, how many carbohydrates, fiber, protein, um, fat, all of the things, and then we formulate and we give them exactly what they need. We actually our cows have better nutrition than we do, but
Wow. So you have a nutritionist that works with these ladies. I don't even have a nutritionist. Wow, that's really cool. So they've got, I mean, they've got you, of course, who you know what they need, but then of course you've got that nutritionist who's another outside person who can help make sure they're getting all the good stuff in their diet. Who are other people that you as a farmer work with to make sure that these animals are well taken care of?
uh, I would say one of them. I would say the veterinarian is very important with sick cows, and then the veterinarian helps with planning,
Hmm.
making sure we're doing the right vaccination schedules and stuff like that. And if we do have a cow that if a cow can't get up, we might have to call the vet and have him come out. I have a lot of experience over the years, so there are cows that I don't have to call the vet for. I see them, I know what's wrong with them. I can give them the right medicine or
Sure.
treat them how they need to be treated. Um, and I guess sometimes cows, right after they calve, when they start producing milk, their calcium levels go down, and you have to administer calcium to help them actually walk. They can't walk if their calcium levels get too low. So
Huh.
there's important things. Other important people, the feed suppliers, and then since we grow so much of our products, there's the seed suppliers. We buy feed from people. We buy fertilizer from people. So
Hmm.
there's a lot of different people connected to these calves. And then once
Wow.
they get into the milking herd, we also, every day the milkman comes and picks up a load of milk. And, then it goes to a cheese factory, milk processing plant, bottling plant. Most of the milk in Wisconsin goes to a cheese factory. There is a yogurt plant that sometimes our milk goes to. But so there's people on the front side that, you know, help us keep the animals healthy, fed, all the things. And then there's people on
Hmm.
the backside that they take the milk and then it goes from the cow to the bulk tank to the creamery to the grocery store and to you. So a
Yeah.
lot of people involved in every glass of milk.
Yeah, absolutely. It takes a team to keep these girls happy and healthy and content and then getting that milk to our refrigerator. Like you said, it's definitely not just a wiggle your nose and it happens. It's there's a lot of work into it. Now we've been kind of getting a highlight here of some of these of our ladies. Can you help give us an idea of just how much they've grown and clearly taking in because of all that well care that they're getting? I know when they were at 6 months old, let me just pull this up here. At 6 months old, they were both right around like 285, 290 pounds. What do you think
Okay.
they weigh now?
I would guess like 320, 330. And
Wow.
Brittany sees all of the calves and their numbers. Um, Jacaranda was born about a week after Disco Diva. So there is a
Okay.
little bit of, it's not exactly 6 months. So Disco Diva is always a hair bigger than Jacaranda. So
Brenda.
by the time they're two, I mean, it's just like people. You see differences in second graders, third graders, but by the time they're seniors in high school, everybody's the same. So
Right.
or similar. Everybody grows at a different speed.
Yeah.
Um, but I guess that 220, 230 pounds.
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, three. yeah, 320, 330. And then we had about 37 or 38 inches. Any idea on how much height they would have grown since 6 months?
I tried to measure them before we started. I'd say right around 40, maybe not quite that tall, but they're both around
Okay.
40 inches.
So they probably grew about 2 inches or so. So that's great to be able to mark that on our growth charts. And they are just growing strong. And man, they are hungry. They've been chowing down. I think you gave them hay like 20 minutes before this live chat even started, and they're still eating. So they're
We're
they're
hungry.
chowing down. Yeah, they're growing girls, that's for sure. Let's see, Farmer Derek, we have a lot of great questions coming in our calf cam. You can keep going back and forth between those girls, and we'll keep hanging out with Derek here and answering some questions. So let's see. We've got a question from Miss McGrath. They were curious, how long does the milking process take? We mentioned it briefly, but how long does that process actually take for a cow?
Per cow is like 6 or 8 minutes. But yeah, because there's 250 cows in our barn, it takes 4 to 4.5 hours. Um, in our barn, I think I've got a couple videos that maybe you've watched. We
Hmm.
have in our barn, there's 24 cows getting milked at a time. There's 12 milkers that swing back and forth. So the 12 on the left side, or my right and your left, 12 on the right side get milked. And as they're going out and the next group of cows are coming in, we swing the milkers over and it milks the cows on the other side. So there's all during the milking process, there's always cows getting milked. Milkers are attached to cows collecting the milk. But it's less than 10 minutes per cow. And then, because of with cleanup and everything, about 4.5 hours.
Wow, that's amazing. So it's really quick per cow and they're in and out. So they really, including like getting up, go and going in and stuff. I mean, it's really only like 20 minutes for the whole day and then they're
Right.
done. And that's it. And they get to go relax and eat and hang out with their herd mates. That sounds like a pretty great job to me, Farmer Derek. I don't know.
For over 23 hours a day, they're never more than 100 feet from fresh water, fresh feed, and fresh bedding. So they're pretty spoiled. The cows lay in sandy beds, and yeah, I'd like to spend every day at the beach, and they get to.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's right. So they have sand as bedding, which I think is just such a unique way. And I know other farms can do all kinds of things. Some will do sawdust, some will do straw, some of them will do even recycled manure. I'm curious, why sand for your farm?
After touring some dairies when we built our barn, we felt like it was best for cow comfort. Um, we think the cows can kind of when you go furniture shopping or bed shopping and you hop on a bed, you want one of those nice fluffy squishy beds, and we felt like the cows would be most comfortable on the squishy bedding. Because when they lay down, the sand kind of wraps around their body and their legs kind of dig in, and they're just comfy and happy.
Oh, that makes sense. Very cool. I love that. I mean, I agree. I think sand's pretty comfy, so I think that works out well. Let's see. We've got we were curious. This is a question for you, Farmer Derek, since it's your birthday. They were curious what your favorite dairy product is.
My favorite dairy product is cheese. I will. Cheese is my number one. I love cheese curds, especially. I plan to go to town and get a couple bags of cheese curds that were made this morning and share with the helpers today, but I haven't made it there yet. So maybe when we get done, we'll sneak into town and get some fresh cheese curds.
That sounds delicious. Yum. I'm sure everyone would enjoy celebrating your birthday with you with some cheese curds. I know I would. Let's see. We've got someone was wondering from Miss Reichard's fourth grade class. They were curious if you have any other animals on the farm other than cows.
We do. We have sheep and pigs. We have
Oh,
we have chickens for laying eggs, but then actually on Wednesday or Thursday we will be getting a group of meat birds and chickens that will be used for meat. We've When I was young, we used to have a very diverse farm, and then after my sisters and I went to college, and my sisters moved away, we kind of focused more on the dairy. Now we're
sure.
kind of as my kids are getting older, I have 4 kids, 3 daughters and a son. As they're getting older and more interested in the farm, we've been buying um, animals to raise and try and share the experience with them. So we have pigs and sheep, and we'll have chicks on Fridays. So that'll be pretty exciting. Thursday
Oh
or
my
Friday.
goodness. Really diversifying over there, Farmer Derek. That's exciting for you and your kids, and I'm sure will keep you plenty busy. Wow. We had a question from Miss Ketterhagen. She was wondering how much milk can a cow produce? Maybe in a day, and then we can do our own math then per year. But about how much do you think they produce in a day?
Uh, I would say some cows peak. I mean, some cows can peak at 200 gallons a day, which is
Wow.
like 22 gallons. I think I said that right. 200 pounds, about 22 gallons. That's a lot of milk.
Yeah.
Jerseys are known for having less milk, but a higher butter fat and higher protein. So the milk that we get from our cows, right now, we're getting about 60 pounds a day, which is about 7 gallons, I would say. And
Okay.
then, but our milk is higher in butter fat, higher in protein. So when our milk
Hmm.
is made into cheese, we actually get more pounds of cheese per pound of milk than some other breeds. We get less milk, but more cheese in the long run.
Right.
Um,
Huh.
but it kind of varies, I would say, between that 50 pounds per cow per day to 200. So even if we figure 100 pounds a day average, and
Hmm.
cows typically milk 300 days of the year, and then they go on vacation until they have their next calf, which is about 2 months. So 100 pounds a day, 300 pounds or 300 days, that's about 30,000 pounds or 30,000 little pints of milk. If you drink the 1 pint
Wow.
bottles, that's 30,000 little bottles of milk. So
Oh
it's a
my.
lot of milk that cows can produce.
Wow, that's crazy. And can you remind us how many total milking cows you have on your farm?
About 250. So
Wow.
we get
So
right now
multiply
we're
that
getting
by 250 yet. And that's just
right
your farm. That's amazing.
exactly. But there's less and less farmers nationwide, and each one of those farms, their milk is pooled and goes to cheese factories, bottling plants, or for the different dairy products that are then passed on to grocery stores and on to you. Cheese,
Right.
ice cream, yogurt, cottage cheese, cream cheese, bottled
Yeah.
milk, chocolate milk. There's so many
Right.
things that one glass of milk can be used for. So it's pretty
Right.
cool.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it sounds like a lot, but I mean, think about all of the, I mean, just simply mozzarella cheese on pizza. The amount of pizza that's consumed in a day is
Right?
it's incredible. So, yeah, we need it all. We end up consuming it all,
We do.
which is amazing. Awesome. Let's see. We've got some other questions coming in here. Oh, they were curious if your kids show at the local fair at all.
Our oldest one has showed, and then our youngest, or our second daughter, she showed a little, but she's getting more involved. Um, and if
Okay.
things go right, um, Jacaranda and Disco Diva will be at the Grant County Fair in Lancaster, Wisconsin this August. So you
Oh,
come to Grant County in August, look us up. Hopefully we're there. We took Ronnie and Laramie last year, and it was a really cool experience to see so many of the students that had watched them grow throughout the school year, and then again to see them in August at the fair. So hopefully we can make that happen again.
yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. And what was the fair called again one more time, just so everyone hears it?
Grant County Fair in
Great.
Lancaster, Wisconsin. It's like
Gotcha.
the third
Great.
weekend in August. I don't know the exact dates.
Perfect. Grant County Fair in Lancaster, Wisconsin. Sorry, I know my Pennsylvania accent's coming out there. Um, but no, very cool. That would be exciting. And you guys could go say hello to potentially, hopefully, say hello to Farmer Derek and their kiddos and then of course your calves. That'd be a lot of fun. We had a question. They were curious. We could talk about both. This one was specifically for Jacaranda, but it can be for Disco Diva too. Can you highlight just their personalities a little bit? Maybe is one more skittish or shy, or one's love the camera all year, or anything like that?
I would say neither of them are skittish or shy. They're both pretty friendly. Disco Diva, I would say she has a little bit of an arrogance. Um, she knows she's pretty, and she will. If you think you're going to walk up and pet her, she'll like turn around and walk away, like, huh, you can't touch me. Um, and there are cameras around today, so they're a little camera shy. But there's days when I go in there and I'm by myself and there's no cameras around. I can put my arm around them, scratch their necks and stuff. So they're they're very friendly, and uh, if you hear a vehicle driving through, our afternoon milking crew just got here, so they're going to collect the milk this afternoon.
All
But
good. No, very cool.
they're both very friendly. I would
Aw.
if they were in a big pasture somewhere, they'd probably still walk up to you and let you scratch them.
Sure. We had a good question from another teacher here. They were curious, how do you pick the numbers on the ear tag? So can you talk about just the ear tag in general and how do they get that number?
Okay. Basically, we started a numbering system in 2007. Before that, all of our cows had names, which you can believe, over time we've had some silly names, some crazy names. In 2007, we started to do what we call milk testing. We collect a sample of every cow every month, one tiny bottle. Then we check that milk for fat and the protein, and then we measure how much milk every cow gives for that month. So in 2007, we started that process, and then we started naming or numbering all of our cows. So at the time, like I don't know if we had 50 or 60 cows, whatever. They were 1 through 60, and then their daughters were 61 through 120 or whatever. So every calf that's born here, every heifer calf, gets a number in order that has started in 2007. So if Jacaranda, Disco Diva, they're 2,551, 2,561. That's how many cows we've had born since roughly 2005.
Wow.
Which is yeah. There is some anomalies, discrepancies, whatever, but we've had close to, especially with we're in the 2600s now, so we've probably had 2,500 or more heifer calves born on the farm in 18 years. So that's
Wow.
kind of cool.
Yeah, that's amazing. Now, certainly a lot of animals you guys have all had the pleasure of being able to care for. We've had some folks curious about who is your oldest cow on the farm? Do you have any idea?
Um, so there's two cows. They're both. I can never remember which one was born first. Their names are Jazz and Shyla. Um, and Jazz's number was 925. Shyla's 1020, 1035. But there's a little discrepancy with the 900, so we won't get into that. But roughly, our oldest cow right now is 12, or born in
Wow.
2012, so she'll probably turn 13 this fall.
Oh
And
my
Jazz,
gosh.
mentioned before, the calf we saw over here, um, that's her daughter. So Jazz has I don't know how many calves Jazz has had, but probably 8 or 10. There's
Wow.
daughters and granddaughters, and all of those cows go back to a cow named Jordan that we had, and I think I mentioned her in 2013. She was the Wisconsin Cow of the Year, so we got recognized with the governor at the time, and we got recognized as the Cow of the Year. So every year there's one cow selected as the Cow of the Year, and it rotates breeds. 2013 was the year of the Jersey, and we applied, and Jordan was the winner. So Jacaranda's like great grandma was the Cow of the Year. We had news
Right.
reporters. It was really cool
Oh,
experience.
she's part of a famous line. That's cool. So it sounds like both of them, Disco Diva and Jacaranda, have some diva-ness to them and a little bit of some royalty behind them. That's really cool. Farmer Derek, we have had so much fun getting to connect with you and chat with you today. Uh, just wanted to wrap up with one more question here. We are curious, and some people have kind of been asking this, like, what time do you get up? How much do you do? Some people are asking, like, wow, this seems like so much that you have to do. I'm curious what your why is. Why have you chosen dairy farming as your career and as what you do every day?
Uh, it depends on what time I get up. It's between 1:30 and 5:30, typically. Because we milk at 2 a.m. and 2 p.m., which is why the 2 o'clock milkers just pulled in. So if I have to milk in the morning, which is usually on the weekend, it's 1:30. I get up and come to the
Oh my
farm.
goodness.
But I would say my why is basically I feel like I'm giving something that other people aren't willing to do. It is a lot of work. It's a lot going on every day. I kind of have to be I'm a meteorologist. I'm watching the clouds to the west right now. I have to be a mechanic. I have to be not necessarily a veterinarian, but have the skills that I
Hmm.
can take care of cows. So there's so many different kind of roles or tasks or skills that I have to have. And I think I don't think everybody's willing to do it. And I think my grandpa was drafted into the Vietnam War, years ago, and he actually got to stay home from the war to to be a dairy farmer. Like he's like, I'd rather feed America than fight in the war. I mean, if I'm
Wow.
remembering right, that's wars are important. Not wars are important, but keeping our country safe is important. Feeding our
Right.
country is just as important, and I would say that's my why.
Wow. I mean, yeah, that's so true. I mean, yeah, keeping our country safe is important, but we also all need to eat. And so your job is so crucial to all of us, every single person in the community that's surrounding you and everyone in the nation. I have no doubt the dairy products made in Wisconsin make their way across the country in some way, shape, or form. You guys have a lot of dairy in Wisconsin. So thank you so much for dedicating your time and your energy to this program, to the dairy industry, and just being really great stewards of the land, right? I mean, you talk about your legacy and how you've been doing this for years and years. You can't keep a business going for years and years if you're not good at it. So you guys have clearly done a great job at keeping an amazing farm going and of course growing and developing and changing with the times. And as we can see on the calf cam, these girls are happy and healthy and doing great. So just thank you so much for everything that you do, giving us that delicious cheese and dairy products for us to enjoy, and taking care of our girls this year. This was a lot of fun.
Yes,
Did
it
you have
was.
anything else to share at all, Derek, before we tune off today?
They sign up on May 1st or sign up in May, re-enroll. See you next year. Tell your parents to buy you whole milk. Whole milk's the best. Up at the
I
grandpa.
agree. Right? I do enjoy it. That is the best stuff. Yes, thank you so much, Farmer Derek. Make sure you guys choose real local dairy products. They're coming from good farmers, just like Farmer Derek. If you ever have any questions about the dairy industry, you know a dairy farmer now. So I encourage you to reach out, ask questions. We're happy to answer them. And of course, as he said, we look forward to having you in the program next year. Registration starts May 1st. And